Hi, Filter here. In my last video, I was talking about remakes that should and shouldn't be made, and I came across a few of them which I think are kind of interesting. Some that should be remade, and others I consider iffy, if not shouldn't be made. Here's one which is very old flick from the 1970s called Starship Invasion. This movie stars Christopher Lee and Robert Vaughn, and the director, writer, well, he was the writer, director, and producer of this movie. He took information from testimony from people who've been taken and probed by UFOs and stuff like that, and he used it to base these aliens in the sense that you had the Greys, you had the Nordics, and you even had these robots with the points on them. Um, this is a movie that has really good concept. It was directed, produced, and written by Ed Hunt. According to Wikipedia, it's one of those movies which are basically in high demand for some weird reason. Like I said, Robert Vaughn stars in it as Professor Alan Duncan. Christopher Lee plays an alien called Captain Ramses. Helen Shaver is Betty Duncan. That's Robert Vaughn's wife in this movie. And there's a few interesting people in this. I saw the movie way back when, back in the 80s, when it aired on television, and it was, again, it was one of those movies which I think um, it could be deserved to be remade into something which could, because the special effects back then, they were, let's be honest, they were very cheap, and I think it would be awesome if they redid it, different cast and the whole niner. Uh, Next movie I think that should be done is Laser Blast. Laser Blast. This movie I remember. I remember my mother and I were watching it on a Saturday morning, and my mother normally doesn't watch science fiction, with the possible exception of Space 1999. Coincidentally, great show. And I remember watching this movie, and it was just very interesting. Where the plot is simple. Starts out some alien with some mega hand cannon is just blasting stuff. Then these aliens kind of disintegrate them and kind of leave them there. Unfortunately, they leave a necklace and the cannon. And what happens is that some cat who's on the wrong side of the tracks basically finds the weapon and he starts using it. Unbeknownst to him, once he puts that necklace of sorts on, he starts to mutate into somebody who's just flat out savage, and he winds up going on a really interesting spree. Um, Again, good concept. I mean, this movie could be redone in the form of showing the angst of young adulthood. I mean, it's really got. I know they made fun of it on Mystery Science Theater 3000, but in many ways, this is a movie that could be remade into something that's even more enjoyable. Next movie is The Day Time Ended. I saw this movie once, and I was young at the time, and I wasn't really. I think it aired late night, so and I was kind of, but I could only follow so much where a family's out in the middle of the desert with their house, and time is breaking down and all this stuff. It's really bizarre. I can't remember the explanation. I'll have to look at it on Wikipedia, or you can look at it on Wikipedia. It's worth looking at. It stars a Jim Davis. He's about the only guy that I remember. Jim Davis plays Jock Hewing in Dallas, the original series of Dallas. So that's a little bit of trivia for y'all. Now to my ippy movies. Fantastic Voyage. I say iffy because you could, but then again, the original is still pretty damn good. It's classic. It's great. It's got Suzanne Pleshette, not Suzanne, Donald Pleasance, Raquel Welch. I mean, that ship, Proteus. I mean, that's a beautiful looking sub. I know they made a variation of it for the animated version of Fantastic Voyage, and the ship built by the character's name was Buzz Busby Berkeley, I believe, and he was like a weird combination of Bill Gates and Joe Pesci, at least in my opinion. Okay. Another movie which I don't think they should make, I really don't think they should make a remake of, is The Warriors. Honestly, the movie in my book is timeless. I went to a convention a couple of years ago, and I met one of the actors there, the one who played Cochise. Wonderful guy, nice guy. That again, that's a very timeless movie. Michael Beck as the leader of the gang, and it should really be left alone. If you guys have not seen it, watch it. It's really really interesting. Uh, buy the book if you could find it. So there you go. Another one of the movies I think they should avoid trying to remake, but it kind of forms in the iffy category, is Car Wash. Now, my problem with Car Wash and the movie I'm going to mention after this is how they just might try to inject uber left wing SJW bullshit into it. That movie in itself is great. All star cast, and it just shows the day of the life of a bunch of blue collars doing their thing. Nobody has any, let's say, grand plans. Well, I wouldn't say that, but everybody's just doing their thing. They're working. They get up from the time the place opens to the day to the time it closes. It all takes place in one day, and it just shows you the life, the loves. There's a scene in Car Wash which I find interesting, where George Carlin, he's a cab driver in this, he brings this woman to the car wash. She goes into the bathroom, changes her clothes, and he's trying to get his fare. And he's asking, "Hey, have you seen this black girl with blonde hair?" That's all his line pretty much is throughout the entire film as he's there. And you don't know what this woman is doing, and that's the whole thing. You really don't know why she's doing what she's doing. It's just a day in the life of the people there that frequent this place. Last movie, which I honestly think they should never make a remake of, is They Live. Oh yeah. One of the great things about They Live, and I've kind of noticed this for the past few years, the character of John Nada, brilliantly portrayed by Roddy Piper. John Nada is us. We're not revolutionaries. We're not fighters. We just, want the fair shake. We get up in the morning, do our job, and if we have enough money, we get to go to Disneyland or for vacation or Atlantic City or wherever. But he's us. He's not the alien fighter. He becomes the alien fighter, but he's not the alien fighter. And one of the funny things about this movie, which is kind of lost on a lot of people, is that John Carpenter originally made it as a sort of scathing rebuke of the Reagan era. But in an ironic sense, this movie actually represents what we're seeing today with political correctness and pop culture. How they want us to fall asleep, follow these leaders, listen to these leaders without question. I mean, it's a twisted irony when you think about it. So if you guys have any suggestions on movies that should be remade or should not be remade, please leave a comment below. Rate this video if you like. And until then, I'm Filter, and I'll talk to you later.